4.1 kilometre long circuit of Estoril is a narrow track for the JuniorGP riders to make their debut here in the 2022 campaign. Last season saw Dani Holgado claim the race victory on his way to winning the championship. But what will be the story of the 2022 campaign? Welcome back to Estoril for the headline act of the day, the FIM JuniorGP World Championship. This is the guaranteed pipeline of future stars for the Grand Prix paddock, and all you have to do is look at who our reigning world champions are. They're all from this paddock. Steve English and Kiko Giles bring you the action from Estoril. We're about 30 miles from downtown Lisbon, and the action has been almost as big as the casino that we have down there, because in the Moto3 class, in the JuniorGP, this really is where the stars of tomorrow come from. We're going to keep an eye on some of them over the course of this action because, Kiko, we've got top-line talent all the way through, not least from our pole sitter, Jose Antonio Rivera, trying to claim his first race victory today. Absolutely, Steve. I don't know about the casino down there in Lisbon, but it is a lottery here in the JuniorGP class. It really is unpredictable. We'll see the best bits of 2021 in just a moment. But yeah, some of the talent, it's endless. Fabio Quartararo, Joan Mir, the two most recent MotoGP world champions, have come from here. It is really the place to see the stars of tomorrow. And this is what happened last year. It was a hectic year right from the word go here at Estoril. The first race saw a big battle between eventual champion Dani Holgado and David Salvador. Then there was a big battle in Valencia. Ivan Ortola, Takuma Matsuyama, Rueda, everybody in on the action. But Holgado just kept winning. He stormed to 3 of the first 4 and made it 4 in the first 5 at Catalunya, as did Asman. He took a victory. He is a returning rider in 2022. The season rumbled on and Rueda continued to shine. Holgado continued to dominate, although it wasn't quite as straightforward when the season really hit Jerez, Misano and Valencia at the end of the year. Munoz was in on the fight as well as he continued to tick on through the class. Salvador was right there until the end, but come the close of the season, Dani Holgado was champion. He has cleared off to the main Grand Prix category. It's a land of opportunity in 2022 in JuniorGP. So the JuniorGP riders just waiting to be released from pit lane to then form up on the grid. It is going to be Jose Antonio Rivera starting from pole position. He's enjoyed a really strong start to the campaign here in Estoril. He's looked good all the way through the weekend. Harrison Voigt starting from the front row of the grid, and Bouasri as well. So Kiko, this is a year where there's been big changes. All the top riders are gone from last year pretty much, and they've all stepped up to the World Championship action. We've got 15 rookies in the field for today's action. That's half the field. So we're really looking at it. Anything could happen, and you mentioned the lottery of the casino. It's the lottery of the JuniorGP classes now as well. We only have one race winner in this class. That was Asman last year in Catalunya. Certainly, we're going to see a lot of riders at the front of the field that we haven't seen at the front in the past. Well, we were saying on the car journey in this morning, Steve, that we've effectively not had a race winner. Asman is the only one, and he's only had one win. So he is, of course, a race winner. We don't want to talk down on him, but there is going to be more than him. He's not a clear favourite. We have got so many riders from World Supersport 300 coming in, up from ETC last year. Familiar faces coming stronger here this year. Asia Talent Cup riders also in the mix. This is a chance for so many riders to come through. Having said that, there are 3 or 4 riders to keep an eye on. Rueda from pole is one of them. Harrison Voigt, Bouasri, David Alonso and David Salvador. They're probably the main 5 riders who, if we was to say who's going to be battling hard for the title, on paper it should be them. In reality, this is JuniorGP. It could be anyone. Yeah, you don't want to put too much money on the table about who it's going to be, but as it is right now, Jose Antonio Rivera, he does look very strong. He started the campaign really well in the Red Bull Rookies Cup. He had 2 race victories, 2 podiums in the opening 4 races of the year. He's come in here in the Junior GP class and instantly looks very strong. He's the 4th of these Estrella Galicia bikes, and as usual from the Monlau competition team, they're putting out a really strong outfit. We've got Angel Piqueras out there in the number 18 machine as well. Piqueras, of course, making his debut in the class, having been in the European Talent Cup. He's also racing in the Rookies Cup. He looks very strong right from the outset.
Yeah, everyone in this team looking very, very good. And the thing is, they've got all the experience of so many years of producing top-line, top-level races. Also in the main Moto3 World Championship until not so long ago, they have been the team that has given so many riders and fast riders a big opportunity and gone on to win so many things. But on screen, one of your favourites is David Salvador. He was with TM last year. He has moved over to the Leglice team for this year, one of the major changes.
Yeah, for David Salvador, he has been a pole sitter in this class in the past. He's never won a race, but he has been on the podium, and he does bring with him a lot of experience. And certainly for him, he's made that change over. And it's going to be interesting to see how the 18-year-old can fare. He has the experience, but now it's up to him to make good use of it. And you can see here the riders leaving pit lane, and some of them are going to be out there, as you can see, in their Rookies Cup leathers as well. There's an awful lot of riders doing double duty this season. Obviously enough, in the Junior GP, we'll have 12 races through the course of this season. You're also able to race in the Rookies Cup, where you're going to have a lot of rounds in that as well. Let's hear though from our pole sitter, Jose Antonio Rivera.
La primer fin de semana de carrera poder hacer la pole y nada, en el primer crono ha sido donde he podido sacar el tiempo. Había mejores condiciones de pista y todo estaba mucho mejor. Muy contento por hacer la pole aquí en Estoril, que nunca tampoco la había hecho aquí. Y darle las gracias al equipo que ha trabajado mucho en pretemporada y se lo agradezco mucho, y a todos los patrocinadores, a mi familia y a todos.
16 years of age, Jose Antonio Rivera, and he has looked at ease this weekend. Out on track, he's been very fast, very consistent. He's the rider to beat as we head into it, and not just because of that pole position. It's been his consistency, Kiko, all the way through the weekend.
Yeah, Friday he looked good, Saturday he looked good, both in the cooler morning when it was around 19 degrees air temperature. Then when the temperatures came up again in the afternoon, he took pole. His time was set from the morning, but he was also fastest in the hotter conditions in the afternoon as well. So, Rueda, is he favourite? Yes, but that doesn't mean we're going to see a clearing off job like we've seen in a couple of other classes. No spoilers.
Yeah, certainly for Jose Antonio Rueda, he claims that pole position, but this is going to be a real challenge for him. He set the pace all the weekend. He looks set to claim that race victory on the base of what we've seen during the practice sessions, but you can't read too much into that as well.
No, and he's had 2 podiums, of course, before, and a pole position. 2018 and 2019, he had a couple of wins and some podiums in ETC, so this has been coming. Can he get that victory, though, today? You've got to think yes, but this is Junior GP. We don't know necessarily if he's a clear favourite just for this round. We don't know if this is the pattern of the season. Time will tell.
In the Junior GP, you got to roll with the punches, and unfortunately for Harrison Voigt, he rolled last year. Massive crash, really unfortunate in Portimao that left him with some pretty bad injuries, and that had a big impact on him. But when you look at what he's been able to do this weekend, when you look at what he was able to do in the Red Bull Rookies Cup down the road in Portimao, he started the season with 2 4th-place finishes. He looks like he's really found some form.
And he was on the front row there as well in 3rd, Steve, and he's front row here at Estoril for the first Junior GP race of the season. And he, you know, Voigt has been quick in the past. He was massively unlucky last year.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how he can do. It's going to be interesting to see how Tauren Collins is able to do as well. He's looking for his first CEV podium. He had a big crash yesterday, brought out the red flags at the end of the qualifying session, but he's made another big step forward. He's gaining an experience, and he's getting faster and faster all the time. He's
one of the elder statesmen of this class, but still, like you say, still gaining that experience is the Thai rider. Fantastic for him. First Thai front row since Somkat Chantra in this class 5 years ago. And we all know what happened this year with Chantra.
Yeah, and you have to say as well, for Buasri, his previous best qualifying effort was 12th. So to qualify in the front row, a massive step forward. You can see the FIM president down there on the grid. And Jorge Villegas is going to see some real good action all the way through in this Junior GP race. It's 17 laps of action for them, and 17 laps of action for the second row of the grid, led off by Adrian Cruchet with David Alonso up there and Marco Uriarte as well. And I think it's worth mentioning just how strong Adrian has looked so far this weekend. This
is a sublime effort, Steve. Fourth on the grid in his first ever Junior GP race. He was a winner last year in the ETC, 4 podiums, 4 fastest laps. He did a Moto3 race last year as well, finished 10th on the grid, 12th in the race. Cruz says is one of the big stars coming through. It reminds me a little bit of David Alonso from a couple of years ago. The potential is huge.
Yeah, for Cruz, we saw him step up at Misano in that standalone round. He was in the battle for a top 5 spot. In the top 5 today, though, is David Alonso, the Colombian rider, former European Talent Cup winner. A lot expected of him coming into this season, and it's going to be interesting to see how he deals with that pressure.
Came into the class last year, got a podium on his debut, and there you can see Jorge Vegas and Alonso sharing a good moment. Alonso takes Colombian nationality. He's actually born in Madrid, here in Spain. In Spain, not here in Spain, we're in Portugal. But yes, a very, very solid rider. And a couple of podiums. We're looking at Alonso as one of the championship contenders this year. He's got to win a race.
Yeah, here's Marcos Uriarte as well. And for Uriarte, he's already finished on the podium in the Red Bull Rookies Cup and also in the Junior GP classes. But for him, it's all about trying to see how he can fare this year, where Junior GP is his only focus. He's given up on the Red Bull Rookies Cup, so he's putting all his eggs in this basket.
And it looks like it's working. Top 6 straight off the back, and he's looking comfortable on the bike. Yet to win in any class he's ever raced in. I wonder if today's going to be the day.
And that certainly is going to be one of those things for riders to break their duck. There's only one race winner in the class. That's Asman further down the grid on the 4th row of the grid. This is Soma Gorbe, the first Hungarian rider to race in the Junior GP. He was also the first Northern Talent Cup winner.
He was 2 years ago, and he's a really fast rider. 2021 he was in Red Bull Rookies, couple of point scoring rides at the Sachsenring. His championship season in 2020, 4 wins, 5 podiums. Not bad at all.
Yeah, and he's already started the season in the Rookies Cup by qualifying on the 2nd row of the grid in Portimao. So he's shown a good turn of his speed already this season. This is David Salvador on the 3rd row of the grid. And I was surprised to see that David, 18 years of age, but he's got all that experience. Now it's up to him to really put it to good use.
He's been here a long time. Narrowly missed out on a victory here last year in Estoril. Hundreds of a second between him and eventual race winner Danny Holgado. So Salvador, he's actually the highest place returnee to the class for this year. Finished 5th overall in standings last year. The top 4 have all gone. So Salvador, on paper, should be right in the mix.
Yeah, and you can see Luca Lanetta now 9th on the grid, and big things expected of him this year to make that step forward. He's already had a Rookies Cup podium in Portimao this season, and now he needs to be able to add to that in the Junior GP class.
Yeah, and last year here in this class, he was 25th in Estoril. So the fact he's on the front 3 rows this year, big steps been made. And it is often a case, you know, you can't compare this year to last. They're going to make steps, but when it's such a step, there's something big there.
Yeah, and the big step being made by a lot of riders this year, including on the 4th row of the grid. We've got Facundo Llambas as well, the Uruguayan rider. And Kiko, you remember him from the World SBK paddock as well.
Yeah, World Supersport 300, fastest lap actually last year. One to his name at Jerez. Really fast rider actually. Came and did the last 3 rounds of the World Supersport 300 Championship and shone himself in a very, very good way. Llambias, absolute one to watch. 17 years old from Uruguay. Could be very quick.
Yeah, one to watch. But the only race winner in the field is next to him on the grid, and that's Sharafuddin Asman. And for Asman, it's going to be really important on that 63 machine to see what he can do. You catch up with him on the grid now. He claimed that race victory in Catalonia last year, but that was a bit of an outlier compared to some of his other results. He's had 25 starts in the Junior World Championship. He's also been in action in the World Championship, scored points last year and a one-off ride, and he also raced in Portimao and Jerez this year. Yeah, and he's actually, like you say, he scored points last year, Steve, in the Moto3 World Championship itself. That was at Aragon. No points so far in this year so far when he's been doing a couple of standing rides, but Asman's going to be fast. We know he's got the pace.
the thing for him will be consistency this year. He's got to make a step consistency-wise.
Consistency for Angel Piqueras is going to be important. This is his debut in the Junior GP, but it was here in Estoril a couple of years ago in the European Talent Cup that he made a name for himself with his first podium. He's also had podiums in the Red Bull Rookies Cup, and he was able to do that in Jerez last weekend.
Yeah, and, you know, he makes his Junior GP class debut here. We have seen lots of people right across the paddock make good debuts so far today. And I think Piqueras will not be an exception to that rule. I think he's really one to watch coming from the 4th row of the grid.
Yeah, and on the 5th row of the grid is Marcus Ruda, leading that from Munoz and Farioli as well. And Ruda was actually able to finish on the podium here in Estoril 3 years ago in the European Talent Cup. He was a race winner in ETC.
He was a race winner. We covered it, Steve. Valencia 2020. Really, really solid ride. And, you know, Ruda is right there. He's a good rider. Just, again, it's about making that step.
And certainly one rider that does need to make a step is Daniel Munoz as well. And you can see Danny down there. He's been able to win races in the Red Bull Rookies Cup, but he needs to make a big step forward here in the Junior GP classes because a lot's expected of him.
Never had a podium in this class in all of its existence. So he had a pole a couple of years ago at Jerez, couldn't convert it, and one podium besides his victory last year in the Red Bull Rookies. That came at the Sachsenring when he finished 2nd. So, and coming off the 5th row of the grid, big challenge, but we know he's fast when it gets to lights out.
Yeah, 15th on the grid is Filippo Farioli on the Aspar Junior team bike. And Farioli, there's a lot expected of him, given that he's already been racing in the Red Bull Rookies Cup this year. He comes into this fresh from that 2 top 7 finishes in Jerez, so he's certainly going to be expecting a lot over the course of this season, making his debut in the Junior GP class, the 17-year-old from Milan. We're just getting ready for 17 laps of action of Junior GP class here in Estoril. It's Jose Antonio Rueda starting from pole position from Harrison Voigt and Tadakorn Boasri. The 2022 Junior GP season kicks off with 17 laps of action here in Estoril, and a new year brings with it a sense of expectation for the riders at the front of the field. On the pole, we have Jose Antonio Rueda, the rider that's dominated the Red Bull Rookies Cup so far this season. There's change in the air for the Junior GP class with only one race winner. That's Asman on the middle of the 4th row of the grid in the class. So a lot is expected from these riders during the course of this season. Steve English and Kiko Giles here in Estoril. And Kiko, when you look down the field, 31 riders, only one race winner. There's an awful lot to play for everyone.
There really is, and there's a lot of big names moving up, but just one of them on your screen, Jabi Zurutuza, race winner last year, multiple race winner actually last year in the Hawkers European Talent Cup. He starts 19th. Philip Ton, brilliant round here last year, fastest lap in the Hawkers European Talent Cup. He comes through up into the Junior GP class, so there's lots of riders right the way through the field. And drama, that is for the 89.
That's Marcus Uriarty.
That's a disaster.
And Uriarty had qualified on the outside of the 2nd row of the grid. He's going to have to start from pit lane. The team frantically trying to get his bike into pit lane to get that restarted. So we're going to have a gap on the 2nd row of the grid when we get underway for the warm-up lap. It's Jose Antonio Rueda that's going to lead the field away on that number 99 machine. But now for all these riders, Kiko, the track temperature right up. And we saw in yesterday's qualifying session, when the track temperature came up, it was a lot slower out there, a lot greasier. That's already been an issue today. In the Moto 2 class, we had some big crashes. In the ETC class, we had some front runners making big mistakes.
Yeah, and we could see the same here, Steve. One thing I did notice yesterday, when the temperature came up, not only was it slower, not only was it a bit greasier, it was a lot closer. It wasn't quite as clear-cut to see Rueda out front. Obviously, he's going from pole, but that time was set in the morning. This is the hottest the track will have been all weekend. It's up into the 40s now. The air temperature must be in the 30s. Just walking around in pit lane doing the interview with Lucas Tulovic from Moto 2. It was so warm. It's the hottest it has been all weekend by far. And a little breeze, but not a lot considering we're in Estoril. Hit this part of Portugal, known for being very windy. It's always a thing to look out for, but not today.
Yeah, one of the things to look out for is the long lap penalty as well. That's down at turn 6 there. You can see a few riders just taking advantage of this siding lap to just make themselves familiar with it. And Kiko, we do tend to see it used quite a lot in the Junior GP class.
Oh, absolutely. If it's not used here, it will be used somewhere else, but for sure they need to... No, the thing with the the long lap penalty is a punishment in itself if you get it wrong. You can't go either side of the white line. You've got to keep it very, very tight, very, very tidy. It's very difficult to do.
Yeah, even there on the siding lap, we saw some riders running out onto the green paint, and that included, it looked like Danny Munoz as well. So we're going to keep an eye on that all the way through for these riders as well in the race. And that is Uriarte. Clearly, he hasn't been able to get that bike restarted, so his season opener ends straight away, and that's a big shame considering he qualified 6th on the grid.
I said that he was yet to win in any classes today going to be the day. No is the answer to that, emphatically. Just a quick watch for some of the talent team riders, Steve. Tauren Collins does the first one, going from the front row, the first front row, as we said, for Thailand in 5 years. But further down, Brit watch, Eddie O'Shea, 16th on the British talent team bike. We got Daniel Sharil in 19th place. And don't forget, Arby added time on the Astra Honda Racing team. He's right there. Row 8 for him, 23rd. Most of the action is going to be at the front, hopefully involving Boazri, and a big fight for victory. 31
rider field, and that's been reduced to a 30 rider field after Marcus Uriarte has retired before we've even gotten underway. There's 15 rookies in the field this season. We've got a couple of riders that have only got 1 start under their belt as well. So for the Junior GP class, change is in the air. Jose Antonio Rivera will start from pole position for this 17-lap race, and he is trying to claim his first race victory. We only have 1 race winner in the field. That's the 63 of Azman on the 4th row of the grid. As the Junior GP riders get ready for the start of the 2022 Junior GP campaign, it's Jose Antonio Rivera on pole position getting a quick start. Harrison Voigt looks like he made a fast start, but it's Boazri on the 33 that looks like he's going to take the whole shot down in towards turn 1. Keep an eye on David Alonso on the number 80. He's up into 3rd spot, and our pole sitter Rivera relegated down to 4th and under attack now on the run down towards turns 3 as well. You can see there the number 11 machine trying to make himself as wide as possible. That's Adrian Cruces stepping up from the ETC class. Azman on the 63 attacks down the inside. He comes from the 4th row of the grid. He looks like he's up into about 7th spot now.
No jump starts on our timing monitor. Harrison Voigt going for the lead. Harrison Voigt up into the lead at turn 4 and pushed aside. That was David Alonso coming through. So Boazri may have took the whole shot. He's relegated back to his starting position. He's ahead of Rueda. Cruces 5th. 6th is Yambias up from row 3 with that start, considering Uriarte's in the pit lane.
Yeah, really good start for a few of these riders to pick off some spots. We've been nice and clean all the way through the opening half of the lap. As you can see, a few riders now trying to jostle for position. Harrison Voigt, though, out in front. Great to see, considering what happened to him last year in Portimao. Some bad injuries for him, but he's been able to start the season strong in the Red Bull Rookies Cup, and very strong here in the Junior GP class. You can see there in 4th position. That's our pole setter, the number 99, Jose Antonio Rueda. He's trying to be the next rider to attack Boazri. Not quite close enough into the chicane, but he'll be in a position to attack with the run down into turn 1, and that's one of the Finitech
Almanza.
Could be Almanza on the 22 down at the chicane. You can see Rueda still trying to get himself into position there to attack Boazri, but he's going to be under attack as well from Adrian Cruces here on the opening lap of the race. It was the 22. That's Almanza out of the race, and with only 1 race for these Junior GP riders, that'll be no points on the season opener for the 22. But you can see here this big group of riders at the front of the field. They're trying to stretch themselves out. Harrison Voigt doing a really good job to hit the front and just try and get his head down to try and break away a little bit from Alonso. In 3rd position, it is now Jose Antonio Rueda. He's been able to clear Boazri.
We've got a double long lap penalty that comes from a qualifying infringement for Mattia Volpe. He's way out the action, down to 27th. Someone running wide. That is the 12 of Jacob Rulestone. He was running way off track there. Did a similar thing last year. He ended up in the gravel then in the ETC. At the front, Voigt is leading. Almanza not getting that bike started. Let's have a look what happened. Are we going to see a replay? Let's see. Yeah, I think he's tangled. Can't see who that is. Is it Lunetta, maybe? If it's a 58, it might be Lunetta. Big lunge. Oh, he's completely out of shape. And I tell you what, Lunetta's lucky not. He wasn't skittled there as well. So Almanza, big mistake. Race winner here last year in ETC's race 2. Yeah,
easy to make that mistake and run through the chicane as you move the bike from one side to the other, trying to get the bike stopped. It is a big challenge for you. And that was just basically the cause of the accident for Almanza. You can see as the riders now head their way towards that section of the track. Look at how narrow it is through here, Kiko. It is tough to make moves, even in the Junior GP class, around this Estoril circuit.
Yeah, it's really tight. And actually, the camera doesn't do that part of the track justice. We walked around the track on Saturday morning, Steve, and it is so narrow. You can't believe That's Leopard Impala bike.
That's Anthem. No, it's
Alex Gordon. Well, it was his birthday yesterday. He was just turned 15, so that's not a great way to celebrate. Is he going to tuck the front, or is he going to be over the top? Wow,
Ooh.
over the top in a big way.
Yeah, big crash there for the French rider, and we'll wait and see how the season fares out for him. But certainly at the front of the field, Jose Antonio Rivera now in a position to attack David Alonso. These are two of the riders where a lot was expected of them coming into this season, expected to win races, expected to be championship contenders. You can see Alonso doing everything he can to hold on to that second spot, but Rivera is going to try and run around the outside. He's not going to be able to make the move through there. Not on David Alonso.
Nope.
Alonso, former European Talent Cup winner, the reigning Red Bull Rookies Cup winner as well, and he's up against the guy that's currently leading the Red Bull Rookies Cup, Jose Antonio Rivera. But you can see both of these riders, they look like they've got a little bit of speed in hand over Harrison Voigt. Are they going to be close enough to try and attack into the left-hander? This is where Voigt took the race lead, and he's able to hold on to that race lead, but it looks like it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, in fourth place in the background, Cruces just got ahead of Boisri. So Boisri's front row position, getting him in that leading group. He's just dropping backwards now. Front three are just breaking away. You can see Rueda, he set the fastest lap of the race last time around. Desperate to clear Alonso, and he's about to do so in turn 6. Lets the brakes off. Thinks better of it.
Yeah, not able to make the move through there. For Boisri, career best qualifying effort. His career best race finish is a top 10 finish in 10th spot. So as it is right now, if he's able to stay in this leading group, he's going to be on course for a career best result. The group is starting to stretch out. They've got 3 seconds in hand between Salvador at the back of this group on the number 38 machine, and then Xabi Zurituza that stepped up from the European Talent Cup. He's in 9th position and about 3 seconds adrift.
Yeah, Zurituza coming from 19th on the grid to be inside the top 10. So very good stuff from him. Salvador in 8th. Not disappointing, but we thought he'd be a little bit further up than that. But it's early days in the race yet, still 15 laps. So Rueda turns it tight, gets it under Alonso. So Rueda's got that Honda absolutely set up round the parabolic at the end of the lap.
Yeah, but also for Alonso, he's got Rueda where he wants him with the slipstream in front of him, and he's going to be able to use that slipstream to try and attack for the race lead as well. You can see there for the 99 of Rueda, he's gotten close to Harrison Voigt. Is he close enough to try and attack into turn 1? It's Adrian Cruces on the number 11 that takes the race lead. And the rookie able to step up last year in the Misano round and able to battle right at the front of the field. He's doing the same here on his full-time debut in the JuniorGP class. Really impressive stuff from him. Alonso, though, is going to come down the inside. Is he able to make that race-leading move? He is indeed. David Alonso leads a race for the first time this season, but Rueda is going to try and make a run for the race lead as well. Now, good battling here in the JuniorGP class, Kiko.
Yeah, Rueda had nearly tagged the back of Cruces. Then, of course, David Alonso and Adrian Cruces were rivals in the ETC in 2020. So Cruces really getting the cat amongst the pigeons in a big way here at Estoril. Rueda doing that. He's having a sniff every lap at turn 6. Not able to pull it off just yet. Boisri's back in the mix. Voigt there in 4th. And don't forget, Salvador now is up into 6th. We've got a bit of dirt flying off there at the back. But you've got Salvador in 6th. Then it's in 7th. It's Piqueras and Yambias is right there as well. So we've got a leading group of 8 to start the season. This is brilliant. Yeah,
and you can see in this leading group, it is all about who's going to be able to jostle for position. That's where it's so important for Rueda on the 99. He's trying to make sure he's able to hold on. Oh! And
that's Voigt, and has he taken out Piqueras, I think?
It is Piqueras, the number 18 machine. Big crash there for Voigt on the 658 machine, and that's suddenly splintered up this group completely, and suddenly you've got a leading group of 3. David Salvador trying to close down that group, but he's got a second and a half to make up.
I saw in the background at the chicane, Piqueras was making a massive lunge. It was on Boisri, and I thought that's not going to work, and I don't know if Harrison Voigt's been caught up in that, and he's been tagged as we came through out of shot. We'll have a look soon, I'm sure. But big crash there. Like you say, Steve, it's already splintered up. Just got to be careful of these track limits. Going out onto the green, you do get 3 times before you get a track limits warning. Do it 5 times. It's a long lap penalty. Good to see Voigt and Piqueras up on their feet. But when will Harrison Voigt get a bit of luck?
Yeah, it looked like Voigt was just holding his wrist there as well, so maybe a big impact from that high side for him. But Kiko, take us through it.
So this is on the exit. Yeah, to tell you what, Voigt is very lucky there to be able to walk away from that. It's a big impact. So the move was... Piqueras had gone through on Boisri, and yeah, Voigt's just done it all on his own, and Piqueras tries to avoid the racing line and ends up being tangled up in all of it. As you can see, back at the front, 6 more or less together.
Yeah, nowhere for Precarious to go in that crash, and unfortunate for him, Harrison Voito, big crash there with these Moto 3 machines, and you can have those crashes here in Estoril, especially as the track conditions are as greasy as this. We do now have the leading group of 6 coming closer together once again. It's Rivera out in front from Alonso on the number 80 machine, and then the 11 of Cruces behind them. It's the 33 of Buastri and Yambias, and then also David Salvador. Looks like he's trying to make a move for 5th, and he is able to make that move stick into the chicane there. So clean move from Salvador, but this is going to be a long race for these riders as well, Kiko. 17 laps. You do need to settle into the race to make sure you're in a position to attack at the end. You
can't win the race in the opening stages. You can only lose it if you push too hard. So these guys will be aware of that, particularly Buastri, Salvador and Yambias, because they saw Harrison Voigt's crash and the Precarious getting involved, so they've got to be careful. At the moment, Wade leading, the pole sitter, going against the pit lane really, really quickly. There, that was very, very tight. Alonso on the brakes. David Alonso looking good on the brakes, on the KTM, on the gas, excuse me, up the inside and back into the lead.
Yeah, that Aspar machine always tidy in this Junior GP class. They've had a good start to the weekend as well in the European Talent Cup. But certainly for Alonso, he wants that first race victory. But Rueda able to attack again, but runs in a little bit hot. That's going to cost him a spot to Alonso and also probably to the 11 of Cruces as well. But you can see for Rueda able to collect that very well to take that line, carry the speed and still hold on to the race lead. But you can see they're just being pushed out wide onto the green paint. And that's something that Race Direction are going to be keeping an eye on. You've already mentioned, Kiko, about track limits. We've seen some penalties given in the European Talent Cup races so far as the riders sweep across the front of Tauren and Buastri there. And Buastri on the 33, able to hold on to 3rd spot now. He's doing a pretty good job in this race, Kiko.
Yeah, he's just settled in. I think he was just being a bit careful in the opening stages. Not a bad way to approach this at all. It is normally a little bit of chaos out there on the track. So Buastri just settling in. Knows that it's a long race. There's still 12 laps to go. He's up in 3rd. He's in the podium spot and he's in the leading group. As Cruces decides that he's not going to have a look at Buastri, had to think about it, thought better of it. Wise move.
And for Buastri, he's doing a good job here. We've already mentioned that top 10 is his career best performance. Being able to run inside these podium spots is very impressive. Just looking further down the order, the next group is led by the only race winner in the field, Asman, on the 63 machine. He's just in front of Danny Munoz, and then Farioli, who's the teammate of David Alonso in the Aspar Junior team, and then Gorbe, the Hungarian rider on the number 42 machine, rounding out the top 10 spots. Points go all the way down to 15th in the Junior GP class, so we'll keep an eye on that all the way through this race as well. But at the front of the field, they're all keeping an eye on the apex for turn 1. They all want to get there first. Buastri's the rider, though, that attacks down the inside, runs in a little bit hot. Rueda is going to try and get him back on the switchback, and it looks like he's been able to hold on to that race lead. But already at this stage, Kiko, riders getting the gloves off, riders trying to attack. Look at Alonso here. This is another one of those races that it looks like we're going to have action all the way, because no one wants to settle into this. They want to be in a position to attack. We've already seen 2 red flags in the Moto 2 class. We know what can happen once you get past 2/3 race distance. And for all these riders, they want to make sure that they're always at the front of this group. Yeah,
and Rueda on the brakes has looked very good. Not as good as David Alonso. David Alonso has looked very, very strong. Buastri too, and Cruces, you can't write him off. We're yet to see Salvador or Yambias really show their hand, but the front 4 certainly leaving absolutely nothing in the locker. It's all out on the racetrack. As you can see, Rueda leading from Alonso. Cruces going to have a little look here. No, thinks better of it, but it's very, very tight.
Just looking at this group as well, Kiko, we've got the Hondas out at the front of the field, Rueda at the front of this group, and Yambias at the back of this group. The Gas, the Husqvarna and the KTM, they're the same bike, just branded differently. But what's the differences between the bike? What's the strengths for each?
Well, with the Honda, we traditionally see it looking pretty sharp in a straight line, and for the others, we've seen in this race so far, for David Alonso and Adrian Cruces, very strong in the braking area. So, you know, the bikes, they're 254 strokes at the end of the day. They're more or less not all identical. The characteristics will be relatively similar, but each bike has different strengths and weaknesses. And as you can see, it's a quite good mix of the front 4 different manufacturers.
Yeah, the Honda always quite good in the twistier sections as well, and that's one of the strengths for that bike, and certainly for Rueda, he'll know the importance of that in the closing stages of the lap here, where you've got the chicane and then the long right-hander that leads on to the start-finish straight. We've seen it time and again in the Moto 3 class, whether it's in the World Championship or here in the Junior GP class, that the slipstream on the final lap, absolutely critical on the runs to the line. You can see for Alonso, he's in a position to attack, wants to hit the front on that number 80 gas machine. He tries to make the move down the inside, but Rivera, not for the first time, able to carry that corner speed, carry the roll speed around the outside and able to hold on to that race lead.
And it's just it's exactly what we're saying. It's just how different bikes work. Alonso can get it turned very, very well. Rueda's happy to kind of arc the corner, so it's obviously working. But there we see the braking strengths of the gas, and he's up the inside. Does he push him out wide, or is he leaving him a bit of space? I think he's got the job done for now.
For now. I think that's the key word, for now, because it is going to change all the way through. Alonso up into the race lead. You can see Buastri there on the 33 on the Honda trying to make his move as well, and he's able to hold on to that spot in front of the 11 of Adrian Cruces. But you can see here for Rueda trying to attack down into the chicane. He doesn't look like he's a rider that's going to try and rush things.
Oh, big moment. Sorry, Steve. Alonso was out of the seat there. He almost pinned it all together. Thankfully collected it. We didn't see Harrison Voigt, but that was a big moment for the Colombian rider who leads this race so far. Rueda was a little bit offline there. He's gathered it up well, and Alonso has gone away with that moment. We might see a replay very, very soon, but David Alonso leading this so far very well. Rueda's got a big one on the straight two-bike slipstream for Tachiko and Buastri. Who's it going to be across the line? It was Rueda from Buastri, so the Honda power again in the straight line, looking good. Salvador relegated back to 6th in this group. Cruces up the inside. Oh, Rueda has a sniff, but thinks better of it. 9 to go. We're at half race distance, more or less.
Yeah, Buastri on the 33, able to take the lead. Kiko, we saw there the pit boards as well. Really important in the Moto3 style races to know how big the group is, and that's what we saw from that pit board.
Exactly. G6 generally means a group of 6. So this is the replay of David Alonso. He's going to ask for the power, flick it right. Bike's all cranked over on the power. Just a little moment out the seat. Lucky to get away with it. It's not always the case, particularly at that corner. Yeah,
good save there from the 80 of Alonso. He's trying to claim that first race victory. A lot expected of him, given that he won the Red Bull Rookies Cup last year, and he is a former ETC Cup winner as well. So he's a rider that a lot of people within the Junior GP paddock have earmarked as that next star to come from this paddock, and this really is where the stars are made.
Exactly. So many riders who, for example, the top 4 of last year's standings have all moved up. Danny Holgado and Joel Kelso being the most the riders with the most wins from last year. They're both doing very well, actually, in the Moto3 World Championship. Oh, Alonso! That's up the end. That's tight through there, and he's got the job done. Shoves Cruces wide.
Yeah, leans on to Adrian Cruces to take that second spot, and now he's going to try and hunt down Buastri on the 33. Have to say, for Tatacorn up to the front of the field, he's doing a really good job. 10th is his career best performance. He looks very comfortable in this leading group right now. You can see Rueda able to hold his tight line if he wants to through the Parabolica, gets himself nice and close to use the slipstream from KTM of Cruces in front of him. So Rueda on the 99 in a position to attack here as everyone tries to duck into the slipstream in the long run down towards turn 1. It drops downhill through here. It's very tight though as well, Kiko. First gear for these riders, and you can see for Rueda, he's trying to just get down the inside of Cruces, but Adrian Cruces doing a really good job in the 11.
So strong on the brakes, Steve. Cruces, I mean, considering, I know he'll have been testing and he's no slouch, but this is impressive. He's one of him and Yambias, for me, the 2 riders who are complete rookies in this, doing very, very well, I must admit, doing more than we thought they would. Very good stuff. Yeah,
for Cruces on that number 11 machine, he made his debut last year in Misano. That's where the Junior GP has a standalone race, and he was able to do very well. He actually had a penalty at the end of the race, but that dropped him down the order. But he was right there scrapping it out for 4th, 5th position during that race. So he's adapted very well to Moto3 style machinery. And you can see there for Jose Antonio Rueda, he's trying to make sure that he can hold on to that position in front of his teammate Yambias, the rider you've been mentioning, Kiko. He's from the border regions of Uruguay and Argentina. He's come over, he's been really strong. He's got experience in World Championship racing as well.
Yeah, very quick actually as well. We've seen him in Super Sport 300 over in the World Superbike paddock, and he's looked a real talent. We actually wondered where he'd gone. We know where he's gone in the leading group here in the Junior GP class, but very, very strong stuff for the Uruguayan. And we kind of expect it. We know he's quick, and but did we expect him to be top 5 straight away? Probably not, but he's looking good so far. Seeing a couple of patterns, Steve, with Buastri coming through the penultimate corner. He's just a little bit offline. Don't know if that's affects him all the way through this corner, but the gap is shrinking in the final 2 corners. And it's given Alonso and it's given Cruces that opportunity to get in the slipstream down the front straight. 7 to go.
Yeah, and last time around in that leading group, it was still the man in second, David Alonso, that was the fastest rider in the group. That's why he's been able to get down the inside to take this race lead. Every time he hits the front, the pace drops as well. He's able to try and just stretch things out. Look at the 38 of David Salvador. That's the first time we've seen him start to make some moves. He's up into 4th position now.
Yeah, and it was a weird one. Wow, Brasserie on the brakes, gets it done, and nice and tidy as well. Doesn't run wide like we've seen a couple of riders do at that corner. Very good stuff from Brasserie, and holds on up into turn 4. But as you were saying, yeah, Salvador, not sure. For me, I wasn't sure if he was sandbagging or if he just didn't have the pace, if the track temperature had come up too much and he was struggling with grip. But he's there now. He's up into 4th.
Still trying to claim his first race victory in the Junior GP. He has been able to finish as high as 2nd in his podiums in the past, but the 38 just able to take advantage there and pick the pocket then of Rivera. It looked like it ran in a bit deep into the hairpin, but at the front of the field, Burastri on that Honda, able to basically pick his lines where he wants to be, especially when we saw Alonso try and attack him. We saw Burastri able to use a very different line, similar to what we saw from Rivera. Clearly the Honda just able to carry that speed through some of those corners a little bit easier than the Gas KTM or the Husqvarna.
Yeah, and also when he's being passed, he's being able to snap straight back as well, which, you know, we've said that Alonso can drop the pace if he wants, and Boiseri's just fighting back straight away, and it's a good trait to have that. You know, you don't want to let the rider in front of you get away, and 3 or 4 tenths in this class, you know, it's enough also to stay in the slipstream, but around a tight and twisty track like Estoril, you don't want to give them that in the middle part of this section, of this course. Boiseri, very, very strong so far, leading the race well.
Yeah, Rueda now in the 99, trying to attack the Husqvarna there. David Salvador, we'll see what he's able to do on the run into turn 1. Alonso, though, he's under pressure. You can see that bike moving around underneath him. Cruces able to take 2nd spot, but look at Salvador. He's able to pick the pocket there of Burastri, move himself up into 3rd spot. So he's been doing a good job these last few laps of just picking his way through this group, whereas a little bit further back, you can see the 99 of Rueda. He hasn't been quite as aggressive in the last few laps as he had been at the start of the race. He sees that the race is starting to split up at the front, so that's why he's trying to attack on Burastri. But right now, we've got the 3 KTM-style bikes at the front of this group. We've got the 3 Honda riders at the back of this group. Maybe the KTM in these conditions, with the track temperature coming up, maybe it's just got that little bit of an advantage right now, Kiko, because those riders look like the ones that are able to attack a bit easier.
And they look like they're being able to put the bike exactly where they want it on the track. Boiseri ran the outside of Salvador, though, so Boiseri looking like a real threat in this race. I must admit, didn't expect him to stay right up the sharp end all race long. But as for Cruces, I think that's going to be interesting. How is that going to play out in the last 6 laps? Because his experience is obviously from the Hawkers European Talent Cup, and this is a slightly different kettle of fish with the Junior GP. So I wonder if his lack of experience might just cost him the closing stages, or it might just work out in his favour.
Just seeing as well, Race Direction have given a track limits warning for a rider further down the field. That's Tauren Collins, but it does show that they are keeping an eye on this for all these leading riders as we move into the final third of the race. And this is where it becomes really important for everyone to be in a position now to attack, because once we're through 2/3 of the race, if we get a red flag, full points are rewarded. We won't have a race restart. So this is where it becomes absolutely critical to keep hitting the front. This is where riders tend to get a little bit more aggressive. This is where the elbows come out. And this is where you are starting to see now where the 3 riders at the front are trying to open up a little bit of a gap. But it's tough. With a near 1 kilometre straight here in Estoril after the fast Parabolica, it does tend to use a big slipstream that closes up a group.
Exactly. You know, it's very hard to break away, and it's a big stop into turn 1 as well, so it doesn't stretch out through some high-speed stuff either. But at the moment, Cruces is surely not on his debut for his first full season in the class. He's looking very, very strong, and the Honda rider's just struggling a little bit at the back of this pack. I'm looking down at the next one will be Asman. He's in 7th, but he's a long way off, 4.4 seconds off the back of this group. So Asman, 7th, good for him, but at the front, it looks like it's Cruces, Alonso, and Salvador, who has had you know, the quiet race so far. Has he been sandbagging all this time?
Yeah, certainly for Salvador, we've seen him pick off a few riders here and there. For Hamada, though, it looks like that's the end of his day. That's down in turn 1, so that's a big crash there potentially, because we've seen some big crashes down into there. It's high-speed entry. It's easy to trip up over the riders around you, and it looks like Hamada had a big impact there, but he's out of this race, the Japanese rider. But at the front of the field, Adrian Cruces continuing to lead, and certainly for Cruces, we saw last year in the ETC, he was able to pick up a race victory. He was able to pick up a lot of podiums. He was able to finish second to Max Martinez overall in the championship. He was very strong last year and very much a cool head as well, Keegan.
Yeah, he's got a real awe about him, just able to get in the right situation at the right time, pounce when he needs to, you know, and he's confident of leading from the front. This is his first race in the Junior GP class, and he's happy, battling away, leading right at the start of this lap. He was in the front. He's outbraking Alonso again. Yeah. He looks comfortable on the bike. Yeah,
good move there. You can see that Hamad has been cleared away, so there's no yellow flags out of turn 1, so that'll be a clean move from Cruces. And, you know, how much of an advantage is it, Kiko, that he had that one race last year in Misano?
It will be an advantage for sure, because he's not got to work it out. The characteristics of this Moto3 bike will be different to the NSR 250 that he was on last year in the European Talent Cup. But at the same time, it's not a huge leap. It's not. We've seen David Alonso make the transition upwards. Oh, Asman down out of 7th. That is going to be a disaster. I am going to guess that is turn 3 or turn 1. Looks like turn 1. Oh dear. So Asman out. But yeah, it won't be the biggest jump in the world for Cruces, but it will still be a step.
3.5 laps to go. It is Adrian Cruces leading the way on that number 11 machine. We still have 6 riders in this leading group. David Alonso on the number 80 is up in second spot. Jose Antonio Rivera, he's trying to put the pressure on David Salvador for that final spot on the podium. But Alonso, he's closer than ever on the run into the chicane. Not quite looking to make that move. Rivera, though, is looking to make that move. Gets himself up into 3rd spot. Alonso was able to get through as well on Cruces there. So those riders now trying to make their moves. And certainly for Jose Antonio Rivera on the 99, we haven't seen him attack over the last few laps. He's been keeping his powder dry.
Hammer down, 3 laps to go when they crossed the line, so hammer down for Rivera. You see the smoke pouring off his boots going into the chicane. He wasn't actually that far out of control. He wasn't sliding away. Big slipstream coming here for Rivera. He's in the slipstream of Alonso. Now, this is interesting. Will he be able to lead over line? Because in the last lap fight, no, he won't lead over line. Alonso had it by 300ths of a second, but now to the front, Rivera. Has he pounced at the right time?
What was interesting there for Rivera was he was able to hold that tighter line through the Parabolica while still able to make a move. So he actually got through into 2nd spot before having to get on the gas using the slipstream. So that's impressive from Rivera. He's out in front on the number 99 machine. Alonso is up in 2nd spot. These are the 2 riders that are expected to be the title contenders in Junior GP this year. But all the way through this group, it's riders trying to fight it out for their first race victory. And for quite a few of these riders, their first ever podium in the class as well. And certainly for Rivera, for Alonso, for David Salvador, they've finished on the podium before, but now it's the other riders trying to make their moves as well. And keep an eye on the 33 of Buasri. He's been able to get himself to the front of this group on a few occasions. He's got a lot of confidence now. He's building into his career in the road to MotoGP. Of course, in the Red Bull Rookies Cup this year, he's made a big step forward. He might be 21, Kiko, but he doesn't have as much experience as these other riders, and that's why he's been slowly developing and getting faster and faster over the last few years.
I think out there, Steve, it's a very similar way of being in the UK. The riders, they just mature that slightly late stage. Look at Salvador, that's up the inside of Buasri and gets the job done as well. So 2.5 to go. Salvador through into 3rd, and just, you know what I said earlier, Steve, that experience just starting to come to the fore. It'd be interesting to see now if Buasri can go with them. He's in 4th at the in 5th at the moment, I think, and Cruces.
Yeah, and for Adrian Cruces on that number 11 machine, he knows that he needs to get right there with Salvador. 2 laps to go. Rivera trying to open up a little bit of a gap as it is when they come across the line. He's got a couple of tenths of a second in hand, but that's going to be wiped away in the run down in towards turn 1 as the slipstream comes up. Look at the 11 there. Cruces heads down the inside, and he comes all the way back to 1st gear, but he's able to get through on the 38 of Salvador. You can see David Alonso on the number 80. He ran in too hot into turn 1. That's opened the door for Buasri to get through as well. So for Alonso, Alonso. He's down into P5 now. Plenty of work to do in the last 2 laps of this race for him. Salvador sideways on the 38 on the run into the right-hander. That could give an opportunity for the riders behind them to try and carry a bit more speed onto the back straight as well. You can see, though, for Adrian Cruces, though, looks comfortable on the number 11 machine. He's in a position to try and attack. None of these guys want to give Rueda the chance of breaking away.
No, they really don't, because Rueda has been the one in Friday free practice when he's been doing his race runs. He's looked quick. He was very fast yesterday. That's why he was on pole. And now he's leading the race with a clear track in front of him. Looking very good. Cruces second. Salvador back to third.
Salvador, as the bike snaps back, sideways there on the run through the left-hander. But what was interesting for him was he kept his bike to the left-hand side of the track. He was going to force Buasri to go the long way around into the run, into the left-handed hairpin. But for Buasri, into the tighter sections where we've seen the Honda working well, he's able to move himself up into third spot. He's trying to claim his first career podium. This is where Salvador made a move last time around. Not close enough to Buasri to do it this time. But we know we've got 1 lap to go for these riders. And you can see Adrian Cruces closer than ever now to try and attack. But Buasri, once again, able to hold that tight line on the Honda.
What a move.
That's the advantage that they have. He's into the race lead now. But we've got 1 lap to go. You don't want to be leading into the final lap. You can see there for Salvador, down the inside on the Husqvarna bike. And certainly for a lot of these riders, they're going to be just jostling into the right position to use the slipstream as we start the final lap of the opening race of the Junior GP season here. It's Buasri that leads, and he's trying to claim his first ever podium spot. He started from the front row of the grid. He leads into the final lap. We've got 4 kilometers of action left, and into turn 1, it's still Buasri out in front. Cruces on the number 11 trying to run around the outside of Rueda, but Rueda able to hold on to that position in second spot. Salvador now into third. It's Cruces, then it's David Alonso on the number 80 machine, and Adrian Cruces there on the 11, just trying to flap his way down the inside. It's difficult to make that move, though, on the 38.
It really is, and you've got to think now, though, for Salvador and Cruces, it's now or never. I mean, third and fourth's good enough onto the front straight, but if you can be 1 place higher, better. Yambias, think he's out of this now, back in 6th. He's been keeping his powder dry for too long. Alonso has got to start making moves. He's trying, he's down the outside.
Rueda down the inside, though, and he's going to take the race lead. But this is where we saw Buasri very strong last time around on the 33. Is he going to be able to try and attack back into the chicane? But it is Rueda leading on that number 99 machine. Look at Alonso now on the 80, down the inside of Salvador, up into third spot. He's going to have to be aggressive to try and get through on the 33 of Buasri into the chicane if he's to have a chance of winning this race. You can see, though, for Buasri, a little bit too far back. Salvador is going to try and launch down the inside. He gets through on Alonso. And you can see at the front of the field, it is still Rueda from Buasri. Then we've got the 38 of Salvador. You can see it's just everyone jostling for position. Adrian Cruces, he's been able to hold on to fourth spot in front of Alonso. We head into the Parabolica now, and it is still Rueda leading this race from the 33 of Buasri. Looks like it's a Honda 1-2 right now, but you can see the KTM starting to build their way up. Use the slipstream now as they come for the runs to the line. But it is Jose Antonio Rueda that's going to claim the opening race victory of the Junior GP season. A 1-2 for Honda, with Buasri claiming a career best second position, and it looks like David Salvador on the 38 on the podium.
By 5,000ths of a second over David Alonso. That's close, back in the battle for third, but what a time to perfection victory for Rueda. That was coming. He knew what he had to do. Very solid start to the season. Unlucky for Buasri, just left it a little bit too late, but it's a first podium for him as well, up in second place. Third for Salvador, Alonso, Cruces and Yambias in that order. Yambias just not being able to come through in the end. 7th was Munoz, Farioli, Eddie O'Shea, first points for him in 9th place, and Jabi Zuratuza from 19th completes the top 10.
Yeah, really impressive stuff for all those riders inside the top 10. You can see for Rueda, able to claim that first victory. He's had 2 years under his belt in the Junior GP class. He started the season in the Red Bull Rookies Cup by leading the championship there after 4 rounds, and he's been able to pick up 2 race victories, 2 podiums in the other 2 races there. So in 5 races so far this year, he's been on the rostrum in all of them, and he's picked up 3 race victories so far. But this one's going to mean a lot for him as well in the Junior GP class. It's very difficult for riders to be strong in the Rookies Cup and also in Junior GP, but he's been able to start the season very well in both of them. Jose Antonio Rueda, the 16-year-old, able to claim the race victory. A Honda 1-2 here in Junior GP, and very impressive performance from Buasri as well. You can see there, gets his congratulations from the number 32. That's Daniel Sharil, and for Sharil, his teammate, he was able to finish inside the points as well in 12th spot on that Asian Talent Team bike. But for Buasri, really impressive stuff from him. That's the 38 of Salvador, who came across the line in 3rd spot. And clearly here on the cool-down lap, he's had some sort of an issue. So for David Salvador, switching across from the TM Racing bike onto the Husqvarna, able to start the season with a podium. And we'll wait and see him in Parc Ferme. But certainly for Salvador, he picked off the riders around him if and when the opportunities presented themselves, and did a really good job in this race to claim that podium spot. He has been a podium rider in the past in this class, as was Jose Antonio Rueda, but now Rueda is a race winner in Junior GP. Jose Antonio Rueda now making his way back into pit lane, and he'll be greeted by the Estrella Galicia team. The Monlau competition squad always turn out a very competitive bike here in Junior GP, and it looks like this year is no exception, with Jose Antonio Rueda, who's been exceptional all the way through the start of this campaign in the Rookies Cup and now in Junior GP. There's only one race for Junior GP today, and that means that Rueda and his squad are going to be able to celebrate straight away with this race victory. Really impressive stuff from Rueda and that squad, because it's always worth remembering for that Monlau team that it's not just about developing riders. They develop engineers and mechanics that in the past have been able to make the transition to World Championship action, whether it's in Moto 3. There's some of those mechanics have made the step over to the World Superbike paddock as well, and it is just about trying to train them up to make sure that they're ready for the action in the World Championship. You can see Asman there on the left-hand side just congratulating his teammate. Asman, of course, had been the only race winner in this class up until the start of today's action, but now joined by Jose Antonio Rueda. And certainly you'd expect to see some other riders added to that list through the course of this season, none more so than Buasri, because the Thai rider really was very impressive all the way through this race. Career best before this was a 10th place finish, and now suddenly he's been able to make the jump onto the podium. He raced in the Red Bull Rookies Cup last year and came away with 4 podiums, 2 second-place finishes and 2 third-place finishes, and now he's been able to pick up a podium here in the Junior GP class as well. So really impressive stuff from Buasri. It's Jose Antonio Rueda, and we'll get the chance to hear from him in a couple of moments' time whenever he catches up with Kiko down there in Parc Ferme. There's a few checks to be done before that as well, and he's able to spend a little bit of time with that team and celebrate their success. Picture time now for Rueda. Holds up the #1 for the first time here in Junior GP. He's been very impressive all the way through, but you can see there he's just been told before the pictures you got to get yourself ready for an interview as well, and you can see the sense of excitement that he has to have that prospect of talking to Kiko down in Parc Ferme. But certainly for Rueda, he's been impressive here all the way through this weekend's action. He led the way in the pre-practice sessions, led the way in the qualifying sessions, set the race victory, and was fast all the way throughout. Just looking at the timing screens as well, Adrian Crucia set the fastest lap of the race. His rookie campaign here in Junior GP, he was able to race last year in Misano, and he was in a battle for a top 5 spot. Oh, we've got a change here now, and Rueda has lost this race after a penalty from race direction. He must have exceeded track limits on the last lap, and Tauren Buasri has won the race, and the Thai rider who had never stood on the podium before in Junior GP, he's suddenly going to stand on the podium in the middle step. There's our race winner, Buasri, and you can see the surprise for him, the surprise for his team, and it's going to be a surprise for Kiko down in Parc Ferme as well, because Tauren has been able to claim this race victory. We'll have to look back at that last lap to see what happened with Jose Antonio Rueda, but presumably that's going to be for exceeding track limits on the last lap. So a quick opportunity now for pictures for the team down there, but for Buasri, he's able to claim a race victory. The team able to celebrate that as well, and that's a bit of a turn up compared to what was expected from Buasri heading into this season. But certainly the steps that he's made over the course of the last year really coming to fruition, and we saw it in the Red Bull Rookies Cup whenever he made a big step forward in action there, and now he's able to make that step forward here as well in the Junior GP class. Certainly for Buasri, regardless of whether there was the penalty for Rivera or not, he was strong all the way through the action this weekend. He's made that step forward, and now he's able to pick up that race victory. We're going to get the chance to hear from him in just a couple of seconds' time. You can see him making his way down in towards Park Fermin to talk to Kiko, and it's going to be interesting to see how big of a surprise it was for him to claim this race victory. But certainly for Buasri, that's one that he's going to remember. That's one that we're all going to look back on. And let's hear from our race winner, Tauren Buasri. He's down with Kiko.
Tauren Buasri, a first race win with some late drama. What a way to start the season.
Yeah, today for me is amazing race. In beginning lap is a little bit hard. I try to keep calm and stay in the until last lap. At the last lap I pushing a little bit, and finally I can do. Now ขอบคุณพี่น้องชาวไทยทุกท่านนะครับที่ร่วมเชียร์และให้กำลังใจในที่สุดผมทำได้แล้วครับขอบคุณครับ Thank you.
And all of it in Thai.
Yeah. ก็ขอบคุณแฟนๆทุกท่านนะครับที่คอยเชียร์และให้กำลังใจก็ขอบคุณทางบริษัทไทยฮอนด้าแล้วก็ผู้สนับสนุนทุกท่านครับขอบคุณครอบครัวครับที่คอยอยู่เคียงข้างขอบคุณทุกคนครับขอบคุณมากครับ
Well done.
We've seen a Thai rider on the podium before in Junior GP. We've seen riders on pole position such as Somkiat Chantra, like Kiko mentioned earlier on. We've never seen a Thai winner in the Junior GP class. We have now with Tauren Buasri, and at the 23rd start for the Thai rider, he's able to claim that first race victory. Really good stuff for him and for the Honda Racing Thailand team. Buasri started on the outside, the front row of the grid. It was the pole sitter, Jose Antonio Rivera, that made a slow start, but Buasri that got the whole shot from Harrison Voigt. And the Australian rider was quick to be aggressive at the start of the race to try and move himself up into the race lead. And we saw that Voigt was able to attack straight away on that opening lap. There was action right at the start of the race. That was Almanza crashing out. Harrison Voigt led the early stages of the race, but he exits this race stage left with a big high side crash coming out of the chicane. That was Almanza's crash. This will be another crash that we saw for Gordon on the Leopard bike. And you can see on the run down in towards turn one how close it can get. That was David Alonso trying to muscle his way down the inside. He would eventually lead this race in certain points, but he wouldn't finish on the podium. It was Jose Antonio Rivera applying the pressure on the early stages of the race. And this is the Harrison Voigt crash. Angel Becerras also left with nowhere to go. In the closing stages of the race, we saw David Alonso leading the way. It was 6 riders at the front of the field. But look at Buasri there on the 33, trying to attack from 3rd to 1st. And on the final laps of the race, it looked like it was going to be a Rivera versus Alonso show. But we saw in that leading group of 6 that riders were going to use the slipstream. They were going to attack one another all the way through the closing stages of the race. Buasri was trying to move his way up through the field. Rivera took the race lead from him. And Rivera would take the checkered flag, but he would exceed track limits on that final lap, and Buasri was elevated to the race victory. So for the first time in Junior GP history, we have a Thai winner, and it's Tauren Buasri, and a really impressive performance from him. Jose Antonio Rivera exceeded track limits on that final lap of the race, and he was given a one-place penalty that dropped him to 2nd in front of David Salvador. It was a top 6 group that was separated by only 0.2 of a second, with Yambias down there in 6th spot. Zarathustra inside the top 10 on his debut in the Junior GP class, and Marcus Ruda able to claim the final points-paying position in 15th spot. In a field of 31 riders, we saw Marcus Uriarte not even make the start, and the final finisher was Tauren Collins, the Canadian rider on the KTM. Some big crashes for the likes of Harrison Voigt and Angel Piqueras took two of the contenders out of the action. But overall, it was Tauren Collins who was the last man standing and able to be the man that will stand on the top step of the podium. And Keiko, finally, we have a tie winner in Junior GP.
At last. It's been a long time coming as well. Brasserie has shown that pace. Even if the results don't always reflect it, he has always been right there. And finally, at long last, on the top step of the podium. Good stuff all around. Third place for David Salvador. Kept the powder very, very dry throughout that race. Maybe too dry. Just missed out there in the closing stages. Jose Antonio Rivera took the checkered flag, but takes second due to that track limits position demotion. And Brasserie on the top step. Steve, it looks great to see. Look at that. Three different, very different names starting the season relatively well.
Yeah, and it certainly was that leading group of 6 that separated themselves during the course of this race. But for Harrison Voigt, it's a shame that he had that crash. He was able to get himself into the front of that field. We also saw Angel Piqueras, so two riders that a lot is expected of during the course of this season. But good to see, especially the likes of Harrison Voigt, able to make that step. You can see there from Jorge Villegas, the FIM president, just saying there to the man in second spot, Jose Rueda, hard luck for the penalty, but let's go again next time. And certainly for Rueda, he'll be left to rue that penalty. But 20 points and a podium finish, still a good turn for him. For Tauren Collins, though, able to stand on the top step of the podium for his first podium in Junior GP. It's been a really strong start to the season for him in the Red Bull Rookies Cup and now also in Junior GP. We're going to get the chance to hear the Thai national anthem for the first time in the Junior GP class. Bit of confusion there on the podium, but you can hear the sound of Moto2 engines roaring out down pit lane as well. And for David Salvador, he's the only rider able to enjoy the bubbly there on the podium, as now we hear the Thai national anthem. As well there, but just to get ourselves ready with another national anthem. But certainly there for Tauren Collins, we see that now all three riders able to enjoy their moment on the podium. But for David Salvador, bit of a false start there with the champagne, but he was able to come away with 16 points for third spot. Obviously enough, opening race of the year. Our championship positions are a match for our race results there. You can see Eddie O'Shea up there inside the top 10. Good performance there by the British rider on the British Talent Team bike. And we'll see Jabi Zuratuza up there inside the top 10 as well on his debut in the class. And the final points paying position going down to Marcus Ruda there in 15th position. A late race penalty gave Tauren Collins the race victory here, but don't let that fool you. He was strong all the way through the course of the 17-lap race that opens the 2022 Junior GP season. The Thai rider, a race winner for the first time in Junior GP. It's been a very strong start to the season for Bouasri in the Red Bull Rookies Cup, and now the same as well in Junior GP.